Okay, before we meet our... I hate when they do that. They always raise the volume, too. Okay, before we meet our special guest, the director requested that you hear a review read by comedian Gilbert Gottfried, a Ghost World review, read to him by Gilbert Gottfried. Let's listen.
This is VanguardNewsNetwork.com Ghost World. I know it's been out for a while, but if you're ever pursuing the video store looking for a movie to rent, don't make it Ghost World. This movie, directed by Jew Terry Zwigoff, is the quintessential example of anti-white propaganda. In fact, when Kike Zwigoff is dragged before a justice of the New World Order, it is this film that prosecutors will use to sentence him to death by a crack crazy. The story.
Terry is
story
weeping.
is about two bitter, sadistic girls who are graduating from high school. They are, of course, disgusted by America's vapid, consumer-driven society, you know, where people actually have to work to buy things that they need to survive. One of the girls, Rebecca, played by Scarlett Johansson, is a pretty white girl, although a piss-poor actress who slowly becomes something really awful, a shallow consumer. She gets a job, rents an apartment, and is even seen shopping at Crate and Barrel. Meanwhile, Enid, played by Thora Birch, a sassy, misunderstood nonconformist who just wants to create art and figure out what's wrong with the world. And of course, we're reminded several times throughout the movie, Enid's a Jew. Instead, Seymour, played by Steve Buscemi, is a pathetic 40-ish loner that collects 78 records, at first perceived as a dork. He eventually achieves godlike status with Enid, mainly because Seymour hates everyone, also a pseudo-nonconformist, and only listens to ragtime and blues artists. Eventually, 40-ish Seymour and 18-ish Enid wind up in the sack. This is a creepy scene that can only come from the depraved Jewish mom. And the scene that I suspect led to countless hours of fierce masturbation for Zwigoff and his ilk. The movie ends in a confused, artsy statement about life's journeys and breaking away, attempted in true Jewish fashion, because Zwigoff, like his fellow hack Spielberg and other Israeli directors, desperately wants to communicate on an intellectual level, but can't.
Wow.
That is the greatest review I've ever read.
I thought the same thing. But You know, it's the only review I'll ever be compared to Spielberg. So, you know,
Where did that appear, Terry?
It appeared in something called Vanguard News Network. Somebody sent it to me.
I was going to ask you, was the Daily Stormer?
It's my dream to hear Gilbert read that. I'll tell you.
Please welcome the man responsible for that atrocity, Terry Zwigoff. And Roberta Illeana Douglas. I'm so disappointed you didn't come in the hairdo. By the way,
Well, we're gonna talk about that.
okay, we are going to talk about that. It's a very important part of your character.
We're here to spill the tea and
Spill the
name the
beans.
names.
And by the way, Gilbert's co-host,
Could there
Frank
be a higher
Sandopadre, is in the
issue?
audience. Oh, is he here?
No, he
Oh,
was supposed to.
no, he is not here.
Sit with a chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not at all awkward, is it?
No, no.
Terry.
Welcome, my ilk.
Yay!
Are the Ghost World people the same as the Crumb people?
I can't see him. You have to dim
Oh,
the
okay.
lights here a little bit. Let me see the audience.
Okay.
Dim these two lights.
Who's
Oh,
dressed
take
like
the-
Enid?
Raymond, bring it down a little.
No, take my hat off if you bring it down. Jeez. Need shade here.
Just a little bit. Well, that didn't help.
He's left the building,
So,
or?
Terry, we had this conversation. You made this great doc, Crumb, a huge hit, played 7 months here at Film Forum, our house record in 1990.
I put you on the map, my friend.
Actually, that was Paris's burden.
Might have been.
Actually, never mind.
It was Rafif.
We'll go into
I
that
think,
later.
no?
No, there's a lot of others.
Army of Shadows.
No, a lot of others.
It's the guy who brought my favorite film to America, Army of Shadows, by Jean-Pierre Melville.
Right.
Great film, if you've never seen it.
Anyway, now I lost my train of thought.
It's the only reason I came here and schlepped on that plane.
Yeah, he came from San Francisco yesterday, and
Landed in Philadelphia.
the plane ran out of fuel. You know who's responsible for that? Anyway.
The Nazis? What, Trump?
We gotta get Billy out of here.
No, it's
So
okay. Really.
we were talking about the
Have I
fact that
missed
how did they
Jeopardy?
know
Is
that a guy who
Jeopardy?
made a, I'm sorry, Billy.
No, go ahead.
How did they know that a guy who made a great documentary could handle a feature film? It's a whole different ballgame.
Well, my producer, Leanne Helfin,
Yeah.
one day said to me while we were in pre-production, maybe possibly pre-production, that we have to go have a meeting with the Bond company. I didn't know what that was. I'd sort of heard the phrase, but wasn't quite sure what goes
It
on.
wasn't Cubby Broccoli?
No. And so he takes me to his office, doesn't warn me of anything that's going to happen. And some guy behind the desk is going over the script and his notes and says, so, Mr. Zwigoff, you've never directed a feature, and you've got 29 days scheduled to shoot this, and you got 5 pages of dialogue a day. How are you going to make this schedule? And I said, I don't know, I'd never made a film before. Wrong answer. The meeting was over. We didn't have the money. Bond company reneged on it. Went outside. Leanne says, you can't say that. I said, you gotta warn me then, I don't know what the fuck that
So you
is.
flunked the Bond interview.
I did, but then she said, we gotta do it again. I said, with the same guy? She said, no, it'll be a different person. And there's time you just have to say, I absolutely can do that. And I said, all right. And I said that, and they said, fine.
This studio from inception, and it was your wife's idea. She wanted you to adopt
She
it.
wanted me to work and make money.
Oh, that's good.
No, it was her idea.
It took 6 years from fundraising and pitching into script writing and development.
Seemed like 60, but something like that.
Yeah, okay.
And the first thing the best advice I got from making the jump from documentary to features was from Francis Ford Coppola. He's really generous to me, and he said I had written a lot of directors saying, I've done documentaries, I have a chance to make a feature, never been to film school, don't know what I'm doing, need to learn this stuff. Can I come and, visit your set? I won't say a word, won't pester you, just let me watch, Not a single one of them responded except Francis, who said immediately, yeah, come on over, I'm shooting in Treasure Island, actually. I'm shooting that John Grisham thing, what the hell was that called?
The Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker. And afterwards, I'm talking to him. I spent a few days over there and learned nothing watching him. And well, he was shooting like a courtroom with like 4 cameras doing pickups of the master from the day before. So it's like, I don't know what's going on. And I went up to him and said, you'll never have to shoot anything this difficult. This is the hardest thing anybody except Sidney Lumet has ever directed. You know? So he basically just said, you know, everybody will help you on the film. Every department will help you. They're there to help you. That's their job. Production designer, you've got like somebody shooting the film, you've got somebody pulling focus.
But isn't it harder for a first-time director that there is a little bit of hostility from do you have this experience? A new director, they're a little hostile to someone, they have to prove themselves, in other words.
Actors, they have to prove themselves to
Not
the actors.
directors.
Well, the actors get testy if they think, you're an idiot. Like, I don't know what you were thinking, but
Illeana,
we were pretty friendly.
What was
Yes.
it like for
Hello?
you to, I mean, you were not trepidatious about working for a guy who never directed a feature film before?
No, I'd seen Crumb and,
But that's a documentary.
no, I'd seen Crumb,
Yeah.
and then, I also, I answer the phone and I say, yes, where is it? I'll show up. No, so Terry, it was organized that Terry and I would talk on the phone, and, I knew that Steve Buscemi was gonna be in the movie, and that was it. But then Terry and I talked on the phone. I was actually going off to do another movie, and then we spoke on the phone, and we just hit it off like gangbusters. We just were simpatico, and we talked a little bit about the character and some different things that I wanted to do. But as I recall, like we hit it off. We were joking around, and
Hey, it just cracked me up. I was laughing like at Gilbert there, and I thought, boy, she'll be good, whatever she comes up with.
yeah, I was.
It was your idea to make her into a failed performance artist?
Yes, because I had read, I read the script, and I'm always looking to say, well, okay, well, what can we do with this? Make it a little bit different. And it seemed to me on the page that I'd seen this character before, art school teacher. She had a long braid, wearing the Birkenstocks, making pottery. And I kind of just felt like I'd seen that before. So I was telling Terry, I said, I got to New York in 1982, and everybody was a performance artist. It was very weird. And I said, what if she is more like a failed performance artist, because it reminded me of when I was in acting school, where all my acting teachers would force us to watch, you'd be wanting to are we ever going to go to act, or is it just going to be you demonstrating for us? So I like the idea that, again, even with children, she'd pull them aside. I made this movie. I wanted to show you my pain. This is what it's like. And so I was I was telling him a little bit about this, and then I said, and I also have this, and at the last minute I said, and I also have this idea, maybe she's, I go, that she looks like Laurie Anderson, and he didn't see any pictures, so I said, I'll take Polaroids, I'll send you the pictures, and.
But she came on the set in the hairdo, right?
She came on this in the hairdo and the wardrobe, and I'd never seen it before.
You mean
Nobody.
You didn't collaborate? That was your
No, but
creation?
I mean,
He trusted me.
nobody showed me anything, and then I saw the hair, and I
It's
thought,
not on.
oh, she's so dedicated to the part. She cut her hair and dyed it orange.
Yeah, you thought it was.
Oh, but wait a minute. What if I'm wrong and it's actually a wig? And so I didn't say anything, but I liked it.
Yeah, they had kind of. I said, I bet he won't know. And then what I had done too as an actress was I'd actually gone out to several premieres wearing the wig, meaning now it's established. It sort of looks like she cut her hair to do the movie. And then the other funny thing, which our wonderful costumer, Mary Zofries, who does works with the Coen brothers.
And Spielberg, that Israeli director.
I had said to her, when I was a kid, I was kind of going with the whole failed performance artist. I said, she should be wearing a unitard, as if she could be called into action at any moment to recreate her act. And so I said, if you could find a unitard. She found like 3 unitards. And I was like, it's amazing. Because the closest Roberta ever came to being successful is you know, she maybe dated a guy who was in Mama Shantz. There was like all this.
You really worked this
She
out.
had it worked
man.
out, yeah. She had a big backstory.
You know, and so then he just came in and he just started laughing.
I didn't have to do anything but
sold
laugh.
Did you ruin some takes?
Yes, that was
Probably, as
Yeah.
I
Many.
want to do.
He ruined the take several times.
I ruined the good takes, and the bad takes wind up in the film, because I'm not ruining
He
it.
ruined. I never could do it quite as well, but I always wanted to do because we've talked about this subsequently. Of course, it's a total steal from Jerry Lewis, who then Woody Allen stole it from Jerry Lewis. Was the idea of her touching the sculpture, and then it all completely falls apart, and she sort of pats it, you know, back together, although it's totally fallen apart. And I always wanted to do. I mean, for me, being in a movie is not so much acting and winning an Oscar. It's like, what can I do that I've seen in a movie that I can somehow recreate because it'll make me laugh?
You wanted to be naked in paint at one point, didn't you?
Well, I wanted
Yeah.
to be in the movie. Terry wouldn't let me be in my own movie. Father,
Who made that
Mother,
movie?
Father.
Do you know who made that movie?
No, remind me.
They wanted me to do it, and I said,
Yeah.
I can't even think like that. Let's just get a real guy who does that. And I knew a guy who I used to suffer through his films in San Francisco. I used to go to every
What was
underground.
the name?
I don't want to say his name because he'll hear this maybe, and I want to hurt his feelings. But I couldn't get him. I couldn't track him down. And Afonso Beato, the great cinematographer, said, I have this intern gal who's learning how to use a camera. Maybe she'd do it. I said, perfect. So I said to her, don't try to be funny and just shoot whatever you want, and we'll do the sound later after you shoot it.
That's one thing you
Which is-
told the actors, don't try to be funny too, right?
I didn't have to tell her that.
No,
She
she
was good,
obviously
but,
she had it worked out before.
Yeah, no, the actors,
Yeah.
I normally have to tell, that's the main direction I give actors is don't try to be funny, because it won't be the same kind of funny as I'm thinking.
I think it's the
Probably.
casting. He casts so well. I mean, aren't the kids are, we've talked about this again. The kids are just incredible, and they worked off of me as if I
Those
were.
kids were a big surprise to how good they were.
They were unbelievable. And then we would finish and then everybody would crack up. But while we were doing it, I mean, the kid who has to, where I look right in his face and I go, and I thought it was your father. He just, you know, and that's
Shy
what,
Kid who did the violent one?
yes.
Okay.
And that
The
was what,
Mutilator.
and that was like an ad lib and you laughed several times.
That kid was great.
Every time. But the kid was straight. You ruined it.
All the
As
little
usual.
parts are great. The guy with the nunchucks, you know,
Although
Sheridan.
the Weird
Yeah.
Al character,
Yes.
everybody. The guy in the movie theater, the manager, I love him.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
every
Did you
part.
cast everybody? Were you part of that?
Yeah,
Because
I-
nowadays they
pretty
have
much,
casting
yeah,
people, right?
Yeah.
Casting people don't usually do the casting stuff, but the casting director just won an Oscar. She's great, I'm not putting her down.
It's not
Sandra
Pippi Thomas,
Koulis.
no.
And she had what did she win for the Paul Thomas Anderson film?
Oh, the
One
winner
Battle
won?
After Another.
Okay, we won't
Yeah,
talk about
that's
that.
what they should call Bad Santa, One
Yeah.
Battle After Another,
Yeah.
but anyway, it's another story.
Every movie.
Yeah, no, but she cast, I remember, like, she cast, like, for instance, I forget her name, Laura, the girl who comes up to them at the prom. And says, "I'm so
Yeah.
excited, you guys." But, you know, you have to cast the bigger names yourself. I guess I'd cast the kids. I thought they were
The kids were
mostly
incredible.
extras I had to choose from, not real actors.
The girl that tapped on a teacup girl,
She was good.
incredible.
Yeah, it could have gone south real fast, you know. Got lucky, you know.
Illeana, this is the film people recognize you on the street for, no?
No, well, it's different. If they come up to me and they look like Enid, I can sort of get a sense.
Versus
It's
Cape
different.
Fear, if they're gonna
No,
take a bite
actors
out of your
always say
face.
that if they look like a mobster, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be Goodfellas or Cape Fear, or what's Robert De Niro like, or you know, and if it's you know, somebody else, it's gonna be one of the horror movies, you know, and then or like today it was a Seinfeld out there, Seinfeld fans, so
You're one of the few actresses who can do comedy and drama,
yes.
and I was worried that.
That's because I'm
Yeah.
crying on the inside.
Well, how did you? Can I ask?
Yeah.
Can I ask her a question? It's not
I
about
I want you
We're
two
like-
to actually
we're-
take
yeah.
over. You two
Can-
have a conversation.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, George.
I'm taking pictures.
Oh,
Can I ask you the
Yes,
best direction any director ever gave you, or one of the best things anybody ever said to you that was helpful?
Oh God, it's so, that's, that's tough. I always say, but you do the same thing, is what Marty's so great at is creating an atmosphere where you feel like you can do anything, and no matter how bad it is, or embarrassing, you can either reach for something and it's like, it doesn't work, and, and it's fine. You feel free to experiment and try, and you're the same way. And Gus Van Sant is the same way, where
Keep it fun.
where once they have cast you, for you, and they know you're going to bring a lot of ideas to it. Where you sort of get in trouble is where a director has seen something you've done in another movie,
Right.
and then you're on the set and you're trying to do all these things, and they're like, what are you doing? They want the color, but they don't want really you. They think by just putting you in the movie is enough to add a little paprika, but they don't want.
That's the way they used to
That's
cast
what
Hollywood movies in the golden age. People played the same character over and over and over again.
Yes.
Did you ever work with a director who did the performance for you, wanted you to do it exactly?
Of
Yeah,
course.
Charlie Chaplin was like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you have different people, and sometimes there's directors that I've worked with too, where they do that. But they don't know they're. When you're an actor, sometimes again you have to be a little bit of a psychologist, and you go, oh, okay, that person's going to yell and scream the entire time, because they're under pressure from the studio. They don't really mean it. That's why they're saying, just go to the goddamn door, and they start yelling at you, and so you get people like that, and then later on at lunch they're talking to you, they're all nice and everything. They've terrorized you in the morning, and they have no deal. I must say, the first thing that came to my mind, he wasn't really directing me, but when I was in a scene in Quiz Show, which later got cut, with Robert Redford, I was enthralled with Robert Redford's directing of Ray Fiennes, because Ray Fiennes was wanting to he was trying to add all these little handles to this and this, and Redford just came over and with that Robert Redford, he goes, puts his hand on his shoulder, he goes, Ray, you don't need it. And then Ray was like, but I think that, and he's like, Ray, you don't need it. And he just walked away. And I was back, I didn't say a word. I was like, wow, that is directing. He's so confident. And Ray he didn't try to add any little handles after that. So sometimes it's somebody like that who's so in command. And Sidney Pollack, same thing. I've never worked with him, but I've been in his presence. I know, where...
He hung up on me once.
I know. I was cueing you to say what a bastard he is.
Yeah, I won't go that far. So how did you prepare for the performance in Cape Fear, which I thought was just incredible?
Well, I had older brothers, so I was used to getting beaten up, but I'm kidding. Gotcha. I'll be sued for that later. No, once getting in the film by auditioning for Ellen Lewis and Bob, then when I get in it, you didn't, and I sort of wrote about this in my book.
Wait, Bob De Niro has a call in whether you get hired or not?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's
Yes.
just an actor.
Yes. I was auditioned, so anyway, this is a long story that nobody wants to hear, but basically being in the film, I brought a tremendous amount of backstory to the character. So once again, when I saw the character on the script, I'm going to be kind of fascinated with the upcoming Cape Fear, because I'm like, oh, what are they going to do with a girl that gets beaten up? Because in the original, the girl gets beaten up because she's like the slut who kind of deserves to get beaten up. So what I was saying to Marty is what if it's a really nice girl who just, like me, came to New York, and you find yourself in these dangerous situations, and not till the moment of as I've gotten in a bad situation. So that was the moment that I kind of wanted to achieve. So Marty knew about that, but I didn't have any real interaction with with Bob beforehand. I kept it, but I had a very preparation, very, very strong of what I was going to do based on the Preppy murder, which I was really affected by because I was in New York when that all happened. And again, it's like wrong place, wrong time. And that was what I wanted my character to sort of, convey. And then it was, in this sense, in a way, sort of manipulating everybody with their help to sort of achieve an artistic idea.
Was that a closed set? The really violent part, was that a closed set?
No, it wasn't.
Really?
And they, again, I thought
Yeah.
about that, again, back in the 90s, it was like, so you're gonna take your clothes off and he'll rape you and then we'll all watch. It was just a different time.
It was
And
sensitivity.
I was looking, it's funny you say that, because I just came across photos of, the whole scene. I'm like, well, there's no intimacy coordinator then,
Well, here's a great segue to the sex scene in
Yes.
back to Ghost World.
Back to Ghost World.
Wait, just let me ask her one
Yeah.
thing before
Okay.
I forget. How long did that scene take to shoot?
Oh God, it was 2 days.
Yeah, okay.
And the
Really?
first day was 18 hours.
Yeah.
And it was actually Mr. De Niro who said he got off the bed at one point and he went over to Marty and he goes, I think she's finished. Like, I felt like Stephen Boyd and Ben-Hur, like where they take his body off of my arms, like all day long, like with the arms, and my arms were all cut up from the handcuffs. And it was De Niro. It was like, because Marty would have just kept filming and filming and filming and filming. And the hardest part of the entire scene, frankly, was having to go back the next day. Having gone 18 hours the first day, I had to go back in there. By the second day, I was like, I felt like I was in a prison camp where I'm just being, sort of tortured and everything.
Wait,
Ghost World must have been fun after that, jeez.
Well, in between, and again, going back to the 90s, I'm the one who all this stuff is happening to. I'm the one who has to make sure I'm keeping it light, making jokes, making sure to everybody else, like, no, I'm fine, it's fine, this happens all the time, I'm naked in front of
Back
Robert
to
De
the
Niro.
90s in Ghost World.
Yes.
The sex scene, you were criticized for that. How old is she and how old is he supposed to be?
Well, Steve in reality was about 40, right?
Yeah.
Early 40s, 41, I think. She had just turned 18.
Mhm.
Scarlett was only 15 in the film. 15 going on like 50.
You said she wasn't into it, Scarlett.
She just seemed bored the whole shoot. My total direction to her was like, you want a cup of coffee or a cookie or something? She's like you're falling asleep, She's nice to work with. I have no complaints about it, but she was very sarcastic and very, very smart. The one thing that I have to say I regret not putting in Ghost World as an afterthought was, and I had jotted this down in the margin of a script in pencil as a reminder to myself. It wasn't in the script. There's a scene that's still in the film, I believe. I haven't seen this film in like 2 decades, but I believe, you tell me, is there a scene where Enid is in Seymour's room and she's walking around his room looking at stuff and she writes Enid and
Yes.
dots the I?
There is, yeah.
And is there a scene later where Steve Buscemi sees that or no?
No, I don't think so.
So the thing I jotted in the margin, which for some reason I never got to shoot, either we ran out of time or I forgot, was she's not returning his phone calls and he's, really sad about it. He's walking around his room and he notices this in the dust on his Victrola horn, which he's never seen before, and he looks at it and he slowly retraces it. I thought that would have been cool.
Why did you cut it?
I didn't cut it, it was never shot. I ran out of
okay.
time, I think. And then, to tie into this story, which is, I'll make it short, this woman who I've been playing music with for like 40 years, comes over, plays violin, I back her up on guitar, and she never talks about anything about film. She knows I'm a film director, I've known her forever, never brings up film, whatever, we play music. So one day, we're taking a break to have some coffee, and I said, Irene, what would be like a really good tune for you to learn since you play mandolin, it might work on mandolin, is the Third Man theme. And
Really?
she said, I've never never learned that, but my grandfather's in The Third Man. I said, he's in The Third Man, who is he? He said, he's the guy who plays Baron Kurtz.
Really?
You remember Baron Kurtz?
Of course.
Ernst Deutsch.
I
is your
distributed The
grandfather.
Third Man.
Yeah, he's great in the film.
The guy with the
So,
dog?
the guy with the little dog, yeah, the
Yeah.
sinister looking gaunt guy. He's great. I went back and rewatched that film after she told me that. And I noticed in the Ferris wheel scene, Orson Welles writes Anna and the dirt in the window in the
That's
Ferris
right,
wheel.
that's
And I thought, did that somehow seep into my subconscious and get into the script? I don't think so. So I called Thora. I said, Thora, did you improv that original thing where you wrote Enid in the dust? And she said, yeah, I think I did. And then I looked through my old scripts I finally found in the garage, and she didn't. It was in the script. It's a long time ago.
Thanks for
I don't know what I had for breakfast
Thanks
today.
for the plug, 'cause we're showing a new 35 millimeter a month from a photochemical source.
You had a trailer for The Third Man?
Not today because of this thing, we
Yeah,
cut the
yesterday.
trailers. We cut the trailers, right? Sorry.
And the other trailer was The Narrow Margin?
No, we don't have a trailer for that. We
You're
have
not
a
sure,
plug
man.
for it though, because that's when I first met you
Yes.
at a screening of The Narrow Margin many, many years ago in this theater. And why? Can we see the slide,
you've got it.
Raymond?
Yeah.
Well, she came on a date with a unspecified person, and and who does Marie Windsor look like? People?
Illeana Douglas.
That's right, spitting image. And you met Marie Windsor.
I did. Well, but again, you have to say unspecified. They're New
Oh,
Yorkers, for God's
okay,
sakes.
it's Marty.
It's Marty.
I think it's the only time Marty ever came here as a civilian. Just came to see a movie. It was
Yes.
a double feature of The Narrow Margin, which we're showing in a few
Yeah,
weeks.
fun.
Richard Fleischer, one of the great film noirs
Yeah.
of the early '50s, and it was and Detour was on the double feature, right?
Yes.
Right.
Well, because it was obviously an in-joke that
Yeah.
I look like,
So
Marie
Marty
Windsor.
went, doesn't she look like her? She
Yeah.
looks like her, yeah.
So it was obviously like, an in-joke and that Marie Windsor, and then cut to, I'm in LA doing a movie, and I got to know this girl that was David Lynch's assistant and driver.
You mean the producer of Crown? No, that's an in-joke.
No, it was
Okay.
somebody else. And she was a German girl, and she tracked down, I couldn't believe it, so she tracked down Marie Windsor. So I was like, oh my God, we're gonna meet Marie Windsor, we'll get a picture, and Marty's gonna think it's the funniest thing in the world. She's obviously gonna say, you're my doppelganger. We set it all up to meet her. She's, she's terrifying. She's like this tough broad. She goes, we gotta make this quick, kid. I gotta go to the track.
Was she smoking?
She was not smoking, but so I'm already really my friend. She's got the camera, and you're all ready. And she's like, "Why'd you want to meet me anyway?" And my friend, it's like, because I look exactly like you. You're like, how do you not get this? So anyway, I'm like fumbling. I'm trying to, it's wait. You understand? Like back on the East Coast. You're revered directors like Martin Scorsese and Brian De Palma. They really admire you. And she goes, yeah, tell them to give me a fucking job. I was like, let's just take this picture and get the hell out of here, I mean, I was shaking. So I just stood next to her, and she goes, this better be a flash. I don't want any non-flash pictures. So we got the picture, and had the evidence. I met her, I quickly I took some pictures of her car. Her license plate was her husband's name, Jack Hupp. So I stole, it was a blue Cadillac, baby blue. She was on her way, and we snuck the pictures and stuff. Brought all the evidence back to Marty, to show him all the pictures and stuff. We dined out, of course, on the story of Marie Windsor. But then over the years, working with TCM, it only grew and grew. And then Twitter came on, and I finally put the picture up of me and Marie Windsor. I said, this is proof that I am not Marie Windsor. This is, she and I together. But man, she was terrifying.
Was Marty appreciative of all this effort?
Oh, of course, you know, I
We did
mean,
get the picture frame, right?
of course, of course.
Okay.
And I also got her to sign the lobby card of the cat people on the moon. And we were,
Yeah, the 3D one.
yeah, because another weird, you know,
We should show that.
another
here.
weird
Cat
joke.
women on the moon, right?
Cat women on the moon,
Thank
that's
you.
right.
Um,
Anaglyphic 3D.
that another in joke, if you're a lunatic like me, you know the Sonny Tufts story, right? Does anyone know Sonny Tufts?
I think we don't have time for this one,
We're not
Illeana.
gonna-
But I wanted, I
Yeah.
plugged something else that's related
Sorry,
to
I live in
right now we're
Connecticut,
doing a
so I
Lubitsch
really-
Festival.
It's
Right?
like-
We can
yeah,
tell you the
so
story of
exciting.
the Sonny Tufts. We're
Yeah.
doing a Lubitsch Festival, which stars Greta Garbo. It's his greatest film. Ninotchka, next slide. Ninotchka stars
there's
Greta
Greta.
Garbo and Illeana's grandfather, Melvin Douglas.
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to your grandmother.
Yes.
One of the greatest lefty Congress people ever, Helen Gahagan Douglas,
Yeah,
who
absolutely.
starred in the 1935 movie She,
Mhm.
which we should show and you should introduce.
Absolutely.
You
would
could
love
do a
to.
whole evening on She. Okay. Any
There.
parting words on Ghost World?
Do you have a slide of my crush, the actor that I always had a crush on? The Wicked Witch of the
Yeah,
West,
yeah.
Margaret Hamilton. I thought she
You have
was
to give me a
really
little
hot.
notice, Terry.
I mean, from certain angles, she's not very attractive, granted, and she's a lesbian, but
Aside from that-
I really, when I was a teenager and saw Wizard of Oz, I thought, wow, she is so.
You know, I have a postcard from her when she's.
You do?
Remember, she wrote me a postcard. She was filming Brewster McCloud for Robert Altman in Houston. Remember she was in that?
Yes.
Okay, that's another
Oh.
conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Wow.
tomorrow, Monday night, you'll be speaking with Frank Santopadre, who is
He was the guy.
Gilbert's
also.
Monday night co-host with Bad Santa, the director's cut. He insisted on the director's cut. Tuesday night, we're showing Terry's very first film, Louie Bluey, which I hadn't seen till recently. It's like the reverse of Crumb. It's amazing. You've got, it's your least
It's
known
Crumb's
film.
favorite film.
It's a,
The only reason he did Crumb.
you like the guy who liked people?
You like the film? I don't know
Yeah, no,
why
it's a
you
great
got so
film.
excited.
He
about
did
it.
the poster.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Illeana.
Thank you.
Goodbye. And Terry Zwigoff. We'll be back on Monday night. Thank you.
Well, I gotta get my